tried to make a sales call worthwhile for the other person. And I do that by answering a question in writing before I go there. And that question is simply, why will they be glad I came after I'm gone? The gist of what I'm going to tell you actually came as an insight many, many years ago. I didn't always use it, but this particular time, the results were such that I've never forgotten it. We're based in Phoenix, as you know, and we did much of our consulting work out of state. Another client had told me about this man and his company, saying, he needs you. He will not admit it. And I can't tell him to call you because I think he needs you. That won't work either. So you're on your own. But here's his name. He's president of his company. Here's his phone number. And here is his secretary's name. All good input, you see. So I figured out when I could be there, because when you're traveling out of state, you cannot afford to go anywhere that's going to take you 3.5 hours to drive for one call, one appointment. Doesn't work. Gas, time, and everything else. So I figured out when I could go there. And I also did something else. I researched his company as best I could in those days. Today it would be easy. You sit down at the computer, in 20 minutes you know everything you want to know. But I researched his company through whatever was available there in means, and knew what his sales were annually and so forth, or at least a good number. And that research in advance is essential. Essential. But then I finally called his secretary, and she said, well, and I said, I need an appointment. And I asked her, she said, well, he's traveling in England now. And I said, fine, when will he be back? And between the two of us, we got to talking, and I broke the ice. I ended up building something of a relationship with her. And she said, well, the only time I know that he has a day free when he's not going out of town is 3 weeks from now. I said, fine. But she said, he will be back from time to time, and he'll take messages from me, and then he'll answer. So why don't you give me your number, or I'll see to it that you call me every day, and when he's in, if he's amenable to your calling, I'll set it up. So, and remember, we didn't have cell phones then, so you were dependent on things. So one day I'm alerted that he's going to be in the following day, and that I should try reaching him. And I was in a client's office at the time, and so I called, and she said to me, I went away from the client and went into an office they had and used their phone. And when I called up and got her on the phone, she said, now he knows that you want an hour of his time on, and she named the date, and it was 2 weeks hence, and she says, I know he's not going to be traveling. He'll be here. So she said, I've told him about you twice, and he has reluctantly agreed to talk to you. So she put me through to him, and I introduced myself. And this was the conversation. Why should I give you an hour of my time? You will gain an insight that will help your company. You will get at least one fact that will increase your sales. And you will learn something very interesting about yourself. Can we make it 10 instead of 9? Thank you. Yes, thank you. I look forward to meeting you. and said goodbye. Now, he knew what the day was because she'd told him. Something had triggered him, you see. I've used that set of questions ever since to set up an appointment. I always ask for an hour. And in practice, that hour starts where the person and I meet until we shake hands and I'm gone. The actual call is somewhere around 45 minutes, and it should never be longer. That's the longest time you're going to get for the attention span. This is the right way to start a relationship with a total stranger who has the pen power, the buying power, to buy what you are offering as a service or product. Enough said. Note that I had told him specifically, or he, somewhere in the conversation, and I've shortened it, I had said I'd like to meet you at 9 o'clock on this date. In fact, as I remember now, his secretary had that information. A specific date and a specific time of day. Why? Because I was going to travel 3.5 hours to get there. I was going to leave home at 6 or 5. There was a reason for it. But there's another reason. Why was that so important to him that I had specified a time? What was I communicating?
You were communicating that your time is important.
Yes, that my time is important, and that I knew his was, and I wasn't going to waste it. Enough said.